Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Milone, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man. How's it going?
Yeah, absolutely. Not too busy. I mean, I'm stuck at home all day long, so
I guess right now you're not too busy, right? How is it in SoCal right now?
it's good. I mean, it's nice that it's gotten warm. We have a pool in the backyard, so we're able to use that because really we're not home this time of year. I think it's been like 15 years since I've been able to be in Southern California, just kind of hanging out. So kind of utilizing this time right now.
It has been very long since you've been at home during this time of year. You were drafted in 2008 by the Nationals. You got your big league debut, 2011. You had a September call up. Been in the big leagues ever since. 9 years and counting. Probably, hopefully, would have been again this year as well. In big league spring training, and left-handed pitcher, 6 foot tall, 215 pounds. So I got all your stats right.
Absolutely. Right now, I'm about 210. Everything else sounds good though.
Beautiful. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on here. I just wanted to pick your brain and talk a little bit about your journey because it's been a hell of a journey, man. And one that a lot of young players would aspire to be like. Can you take us through, tell us about little Tommy? Where did he get started and how did he get to where he is now?
Well, really back way when I was a little kid, started as T-ball, just probably like everybody else. To be honest, I don't remember much about that time, but I just remember bits and pieces of just loving to go out there, and even whether it was a game or just go out, play catch with my dad and hit and do anything that was baseball related was a lot of fun for me. So, and then, I get a little bit older, and the one and only time, funny story, but the one and only time that my dad coached one of my teams, like he was the head coach or manager, whatever you want to call him. After that, apparently, I don't remember this, apparently I wanted to quit playing baseball. So I think, and my dad said that he had to bribe me with like a video game system, whatever was out that time. I don't know, maybe it was a Nintendo, one of the first model Nintendos or whatever, but he had to bribe me with a Nintendo to keep playing. So I'm grateful that he did because it's definitely worked out.
Yeah, no doubt.
But so I've always loved the game. It's just a lot of fun to kind of go out there and compete. I really didn't become a pitcher until I was a little bit older, probably like just before, maybe like a couple years before going into high school. It's just something that I think I've always been able to throw strikes. So it was just one of those things where we didn't have a pitcher for a certain game, and they're like, hey, Tommy, can you pitch? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot. And, I was throwing a lot of strikes and I mean, mainly, I'm guessing I was only throwing fastballs, to be honest, but it was just one of those things where it just kind of clicked. I was throwing strikes and everything was around the plate. So they're like, wow, like maybe you can become a pitcher. And at the time, I'm young. I'm like, all I want to do is hit. Like, I don't want to pitch. But, I did both. So it kind of worked out. And then, just kind of like as I'm getting a little bit older and older, I'm still hitting. It's still the thing that I like to do more. But I get into high school, little bit of the same. I started getting better and better. And then college was kind of like the halt of the hitting.
Welcome to PO land.
Yeah, for sure. So, they gave me a shot. I went to USC. They were like, hey, we want you to pitch. They're like, we know you can hit, but we'll give you a shot, but whatever. And, I hit a little bit in the inter squad games. I didn't do very well. And they're like, well, that's the end of that. So, I think that's probably what they wanted to happen, to be honest. But yeah, so, pitcher through college, and then drafted in 2008 like you said, and just
did you get drafted in 2000 did you get drafted in junior year or senior year?
Junior year. Yeah, so 3 years at USC.
When did you know, along that path that you just gave us, when did you know you had a shot at this, I want to be a pro baseball player, I think I could really do this?
Yeah, so obviously as a kid, your dream is to always be if you love the game, your dream is to always be a professional baseball player. And it's not until you get somewhat close. Like maybe it's high school, maybe it's probably going to be somewhere around high school where you actually know if you can actually do it or not, I guess would be I don't know. But it was freshman year of high school where like I was good, but I wasn't great. I get into high school, I would say like I'm one of the better ones, but like I'm still not like, peak. So I don't know what happened. Something clicked midway through my freshman year, and it was probably more on the hitting side than it was the pitching side. I feel like I've always been a decent pitcher, but something clicked, and after that, it's just like I just kind of ran with it. So to be honest, I can't pinpoint one thing, but that was about the time frame.
Let me ask you this. Were there any big struggles coming up in baseball that you had to overcome? Or even when you got into pro ball, I'm sure you come across some struggles. Is there anything that comes to mind, situations that you really had to struggle with or overcome?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest struggle obviously is the type of pitcher that I am. I don't throw hard. So, you rise through the ranks, and especially early on, you're trying to like get through those lower levels. You have a lot of guys who are free swingers. And there was a couple of times there where like I wasn't pitching very well. And I think high A for instance, like the first, I don't know, month and a half, like I did good. And then I had like a bad stretch, and I did good. It's just like kind of like a roller coaster ride. And, it was just one of those things where like, I don't throw hard. So like, I'm probably not going to get a shot just like, like like a prospect guy would. So, I have to keep pitching well in order to rise through, the minor leagues and, possibly become a big leaguer one day. So, I think that part was probably the toughest, is like when it's going good, you're not thinking about it. It's easy.
Right.
But when you're not pitching well, you go through those rough patches when you have to like really sit back and remember, probably why you're there in the first place, and kind of like you just have to be strong mentally. So that was the hardest part, I think, was being strong mentally through the tough times. Especially when you have all the doubters, because like for me, like I keep saying, I don't throw hard, so there's a lot of doubters.
Well, you obviously got past those struggles quickly because you made it into the big leagues within 3 years, which is amazing. That's super fast. And then you stuck there. I hear guys say it's hard to get to the big leagues, but it's even harder to stick around. And you've been able to do that. So if you don't throw hard, what do you attribute to your success in the big leagues? And also, I have to imagine that it's your pitches too. So if you can, after you talk about that, maybe go into what pitches you throw, how you grip them, and what you're trying to do, make the ball do to keep batters off balance.
Yeah. So really, like talking about what I was just talking about the struggles, like going through those periods, I really only struggled, if I'm being honest, that one stretch period in high A, like early in the season, the month and a half or whatever it was. And then after that, it was just more of like it's a confidence thing. Like you start pitching well, everything starts working, and you kind of just roll with that. And I think that's one thing through that time that I learned to do, is be mentally strong again when I do have maybe a couple bad games in a row. Now I've been there, I've done it, and I know how to get through it quicker than I did before. So that was one thing that really helped me. And I just love proving people wrong, so it's just, it's one of those things where I knew, if I made it and I can stick it, it'd be a good story maybe. So, I always loved the game. So, I wasn't going to give up just because a couple of people say, hey, you don't throw very hard. I don't think you're going to make it. It's like, okay. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why, I've been able to be around as long as I have, is just because of my mentality. I might not show it out on the mound. I feel like I try to be calm and collective when I'm on the mound, have that persona of being, that true like makeup guy where like nothing affects me. But to me, in my head, I'm a bulldog out there, and I'm trying to, I'm going to get you out is my mentality. So I think that's part of why I've been able to stick around as long. And then going to my pitches, got a ball right here. So going through, so fastball, I mainly four-seam fastball. Changeup is my bread and butter, off-speed pitch, curveball, and then I actually just started throwing a slider full-time last year. I threw a little bit the year before, 2018, but it was kind of one of those pitches where like I hadn't really like trusted it yet, so like I would throw it sparingly, and probably mainly for balls. But yeah, so fastball four-seam, just like that right here. Just traditional four-seam. Trying to just get that with all the analytics nowadays. I got to get the new terminology, the true spin. So you get like the actual, I guess like more consistent spin. So it like really rides. And apparently like I never knew this before all this analytics stuff started. So I didn't know that my ball does have ride already. And then now it's just a matter of how we can figure out how to get maybe a little bit more. Cause like I had always been, approached by guys that I faced in the past, and they're like, I look at the radar gun and it says 86, 87, but like, it just jumps on me. And he's like, it looks like you're throwing a lot harder than you are. And like, I'm just like, okay, maybe it's gotta be obviously something that I'm doing. And then obviously with the analytics now, it makes a lot more sense. But, okay, so fastball, changeup, just traditional circle change, just right here, two-seam, basically a two-seam circle change. So it's, I don't know why, because I don't really throw a two-seam. So, but it's worked. That's the pitch that I throw the most. Well, obviously besides fastball, but like, it's one of those things that like I literally could be off in the off season, take 2 months off, come back, pick up a ball, throw a changeup, and it would probably work. Wow. So it's just one of those pitches that just clicked.
Do you have an idea of like percentage of that pitch that you throw? Like, are you
so last year? Yeah, it was like they wanted me to throw it more, obviously. So like we have those meetings, especially now with all the data, and they're like, "Your changeup's really good. You need to throw it more." I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense." But is I think like 35% maybe it's somewhere in that range. And I think
they want it more than that.
They wanted it to be almost even with my fastball, and I think it was pretty close.
Nice.
So yeah. So yeah, it's like I said, that's my pitch. So like, if there's a day that I don't have that, it's gonna be trouble unless I'm really spotting up my fastball. But so next curveball, just I don't know, just bring it like right across the little like horseshoe right here. Sorry, right here. So right up over like this, and it's just one of those pitches that like, it's okay. It's not like a great pitch, but like I can throw it for strikes, and I feel like I can move it around enough to be a little bit successful with it.
What kind of movement are you trying to get on that?
Just more 12-6, I guess. It actually, I think, has helped a little bit more now because, like I was talking about with my fastball, like it has that ride, so it does play up in the zone. So now I can throw that fastball up in the zone and then work the curveball off of it. So like, it's I don't know.
Coming out of the same tunnel.
Yeah, it's the same tunnel. Yeah, that's a big thing with me is like the tunneling, especially with the fastball and the changeup. That's the main tunnel that I would use for any at bat really. And then now with the slider, which I'll explain, show you, it's kind of the same thing. So I'd use the same tunnel, but one's going this way, my changeup's going this way, and then fastball's obviously staying straight. So I think it's definitely helped with that. But so moving on to slider, I don't know really how I got to this grip because this looks just like a two-seam grip to probably most people that know grips. But so I'm using mainly just my middle finger right here and using the seam and just kind of like ripping it this way for my slider. And I think I saw it, I think it was Kluber throws his slider kind of like that same grip. Obviously, I'm not going to have a Kluber slider so that hard. He probably rips it a lot harder and he throws a lot harder. But I just like played around with it and started throwing it, and it was actually moving. And I had played with sliders before, but they were, different grips, and it was, I don't know. I don't think I was really convinced that they were very good. And I started throwing this, and I think it was just a perfect storm of stuff where, like, it started moving, and I was like, I kind of need another pitch. Maybe this could work. And I just kept throwing it, and it's actually been a good pitch for me.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this. There's so many programs out there now, like pitching programs, and I know you did some work with some weighted ball stuff. But coming up, was there any specific program or protocol that you followed, or was it more of, let me learn something, let me try it, let me see how it felt, and then kind of building your own philosophy as you go? Or is there like one thing that you found that worked for you and you stuck with it? Like, how did that work in the process of you coming up and playing in the big leagues?
To be honest, like, there wasn't, not that maybe I didn't know at the time, but like I didn't really follow a program. There wasn't really weighted balls. There wasn't that kind of stuff. So I didn't do any of that, but it was just one of those things where like I was successful. So like, it was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. Right. It's not like at the time, like I wasn't thinking like I need to throw harder. I was just thinking I'm good right now. I need to stay in this little bubble of like what I'm doing, whether it's like I'm just playing catch, maybe it's long toss to get my arm strength up, stuff like that. Still continuing to do like shoulders and make sure that's strong, and work out and lift legs and make sure like I'm not using all arms, I can actually use my body as well. But yeah, as a program wise, like I didn't really do anything besides just making sure I'm throwing every day and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, I feel like a lot of younger players, especially nowadays with the internet and everybody's got a pitching program, the young players are like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I have to do this. But I feel like most of the guys who are playing kind of build their own philosophy. Like, everybody's different. I'm sure there's guys on your team that do stuff totally different from you, and they're guys in the big league who are successful. So, I've been on this kick of like, you have to understand who you are, what type of pitcher you are, and what you're trying to accomplish. And you build your philosophy along the way, because you're going to have 100 different coaches telling you 100 different things. There's going to be hundreds of different programs. You have to learn what feels good, take what feels good, implement it, and if it's working, keep using it. Take the other stuff and throw it away. That's, at least in my opinion, that's the way I had success as well. So that's something I've been preaching a lot about, and it seems that that's kind of the path that you have followed too. You said something about being in the weight room, and I believe that I remember seeing a picture in your house with like a squat rack and some weights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you big on like lower body development, working squats and stuff like that? Was that a big help for you?
Yeah. I will actually, early on in my career, high school, maybe like definitely college, and then even into pro ball a little bit. Like probably a lot of people as well just did not like lifting legs. This is one of those things where like I'm excited to lift upper body. Not that I'm trying to be like get a beach body kind of thing, but like, it's just, I don't know what it is about it, but like I just rather lift upper body than
you gotta feel that pump, man. It feels good. Yeah, get that little pump going.
Exactly. You get the pump in the legs, it doesn't feel as good. So I think I learned quickly in pro ball that we're playing a lot more often, pitching, like you're in college, you're pitching once a week on the same day. And now you're going to pitch every fifth day. You need to be strong, especially in your lower body and your legs. So I think that's something that I learned quickly coming in, because playing catch every day and all that can get my arm in shape. But, endurance wise, when you're on the mound and every fifth day, legs are very important. So, but yeah, I'm lucky right now, during this time that I have the little gym in my garage. So, I'm able to go throw with a buddy that lives around here. So really nothing changes from the off season. I can still get all of my work in. So everything's good right now. Just the waiting.
And you got a new mound too. How's the mound holding up?
Yes, I do have a new mound. It's good. I've set it up. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but I set it up in my my backyard, and it's not like it's way open, my backyard. So like we're trying to kind of cram it in there, just because like obviously just like everybody else, we can't get to mounds around here. High schools are closed, and there's not a lot of extra fields. So just do the next best thing and throw in my backyard.
Nice, very nice. I don't know if you can see behind me here. Let me move this thing out of the way. But I got the sweet Tommy Milone jersey back here.
I saw it when we first started. It's kind of zoomed in now, so I can't see it as much.
You can't see it?
Yeah, no, it's good. I saw it before though.
But that is one of my favorite jerseys right there, just because of what you wrote on it, and super cool. Funny story. That's how we well, I say met, but that's how we started talking in the beginning.
Yeah.
I actually sell these shadow boxes on my website, and Tommy saw them and thought they were cool. So now he has a couple jerseys. What jerseys do you have now hanging up?
Oh, I have so many jerseys now. I didn't get any last year, which I'm kind of disappointed in. But like in my garage right now, I have a Pujols, I have a Trout, I have a Mauer, Torrey Hunter, and then my time with the Twins, I got a Molitor, Blyleven, I think a couple more. And then 2 years ago with Washington, again, I got Harper, Scherzer, Strasburg. I have a lot. And
you're killing me now. I got to catch up.
It's been a cool little hobby to have while playing. Obviously I'm in that position to be able to get those a lot easier than most people. So, I just kind of take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wish I would have done more of this. I started my jersey collection after I got done playing, and most of these guys aren't big names like you're talking, like some of the guys that you had mentioned, but they're all guys I know and my friends who had made it up to the big.
Yeah, which is kind of a cool little collection too. It's like you got your own little like people that getting jerseys from. So that's cool.
I wish they would write some. Your message was the best one that I have down here.
Yes.
Like my friend Delabar right here, he just wrote "To John!" ! Come on, Stevie. What the heck is that? You can't even write me a nice note or something on it? Like Gomes, he says, "Fat guys throw hard." That's funny. That's cool. And that was something we used to talk about, because we used to talk about the more Oreos you could eat from the spread, the faster you were going to throw that day. So we would be crushing the Oreos on the spread.
Perfect.
Talk about the difference in minor league spread versus major league spread.
Oh, well, when I was first coming up, it was basically like fast food versus, like going out to eat a steak dinner. That was like the
analogy,
the gauge or whatever. So now it's a little bit better. I was in AAA a little bit last year before I got called up, and it's teams are getting more involved. Before, I think it was more like whoever owns that affiliate is kind of like in charge of all that, and like the clubby that's there, like they kind of just get whatever is cheaper, obviously, because they want to make more money. So teams are more involved. They're paying for half or even all of like meals and stuff like that. So like minor leagues actually are getting a lot better now. Before, it was like I was telling you, it was like you get peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, cup of noodles, like those are all the go-tos for me. But big leagues is by far the best, obviously. A lot of places now especially will have like one or two chefs that are there cooking pretty much all the time, and you can go up to them and ask them like, hey, can you make me a sandwich, or can you do this, can you do that? And they'll pretty much do anything you ask. So it's definitely a lot nicer.
That's so sweet. That's cool.
Yeah.
What you are a dad.
I am.
What advice do you have for parents of young athletes who aspire to play professional baseball, and who are, the parents want the best for their kids, obviously. Being a dad yourself, what kind of advice do you have for those parents coming up in the game of baseball?
To be honest, probably just be patient. You know, like, especially when your kid's young, I feel like a lot of parents just throw so much at them that it's like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we got to go out and practice, we got to do this. But like, realistically, now that I like look back at it, like, I wanted to do that on my own, which is good, but like, my parents never pushed me to. Like, I was still going out with my friends and skateboarding and, you know, like, just having fun like that. And I feel like now it's like these kids get pressured into playing baseball 24/7 from their parents, that's why they end up not wanting to play anymore. So they just get burned out because it's like they're forced into doing it rather than just wanting to do it on their own.
And they're specializing a lot earlier. I don't know about you, but like when I was young, I played football, basketball, soccer, volleyball, you know, coming up as a young kid. And then not to mention that year that your dad did coach, you said you wanted to quit.
Yeah.
So that's something for parents to think about as well.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was specifically because of him. It just happened to be at the same time. So it's just kind of how he tells it. I wish I would remember it. So
how was he in your how was he like as a role model or a motivator in your baseball career?
Oh, him and my mom have been nothing but amazing, like through my whole baseball career, like from little to now. It's crazy to look back and kind of think about like what they had done. Obviously they're my parents, they're going to do anything for me, but just to like be a parent now, knowing like I'm in their footsteps. It's just cool. And, you know, I'm so grateful that, you know, they took the time to make sure that I was at practices and, you know, like that. It's easy for them to, you know, they're working all day long. It's easy for them to be like, you know, we're not gonna be able to make it, we're gonna have to skip this practice, blah. But they made sure that I made all of my practices, they were at all of my games. And it's just super grateful that, you know, they were there and they supported me that much to make all of that happen.
Well, they did something right, because you're not just a great baseball player, but you're a really cool dude.
Appreciate it.
So whatever they're doing, they did something right. Let me ask you this: what do you see in the next year, 3 years, 5 years down the road in baseball? And then whenever that time may come, what do you see life after baseball?
So you're talking in baseball, like for me personally?
Yeah. First, what do you see, you know, in the near future in baseball? And then later on, when baseball is over, what do you see?
So truthfully, I would love to play as long as I can. You know, if that's a couple more years, if it's 5 years, like that's great. You know, as long as I'm successful and just loving the game, then I'm going to keep doing it. It is getting to that point where obviously I wouldn't say I'm but I'm getting older. And my kids are starting to get old enough to start school, and they're going to have to be away from me for longer. So it's one of those decisions where, like, you know, if it adds up, then I'll keep playing. If it doesn't, then, you know, I won't. But after baseball, like, to be honest, I haven't really given it a lot of thought. You know, there's some things that I could get into. It would be cool to own my own business. I don't know exactly what that would be yet. I don't know if that would be like as small as just opening like a little batting cage and doing lessons and, you know, stuff like that, or like an actual, like, you know, do something else. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I want to keep playing as long as I can. And we'll see when it comes, I guess.
Well, I think you got a lot more left in the tank. Hopefully you get to play for a whole nother decade. I'd love to watch that happen. I'm sure your kids and your wife would love you to be home more.
Yeah.
The coronavirus situation has been a curse and a blessing, I'm sure, you know, to be home with the family during this time of year.
Good way to put it.
But and I think in business, I think you would be great at pretty much anything you do. I think I was talking to someone the other day about baseball players in business. It seems like a lot of baseball players, when they get into business. And my theory is we're really good at failing. So even if we open a business that is terrible,
Absolutely.
we're just going to keep going and keep going and keep going until
Absolutely.
we figure it out and make it work.
Well, I mean, we fail more than we succeed. So,
yeah.
I mean,
so we're just used to it.
We're used to it. Exactly.
So I'm positive you would be great at that as well. So
appreciate
Tommy,
it.
man, I appreciate your time. Again,
absolutely.
You know, I'm sure a lot of young players and their parents will be watching this, and they're going to gain a lot from it. So I thank you, and I'm sure they're going to thank you as well. And we wish you nothing but the best. And keep up the great work, man. We'll keep watching for you.
Cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.